I feel a little bit like Alex Jones talking about this, except I don't have his deep voice. I guess I'm the reverse Alex Jones. I'm still here, haven't been banned, and I have a squeaky voice. But apparently, yeah, there was an event which wasn't covered by the mainstream media. Kind of interesting. The only mainstream media that covered it is Newsweek. We're going to talk about that in a bit, but I'm going to tell you what it is. And you can tell me if you guys think it's important or not. Like, if it's newsworthy. Maybe it's not newsworthy. Maybe it's something that's like, bah. Like a dog bit a guy on the street. You're not going to see that on the BBC because it's like, well, yeah, like, who cares? But apparently, the one of the Twitter executives was a British PSYOPs officer. It sounds a little bit sci-fi, like PSYOPs. Like, what is it? Like the Mindgate conspiracy? What exactly is a PSYOPs officer? Well, apparently, according to this, the British Army 77th Brigade is a unit dedicated to psychological operations, propaganda, and online warfare. And Gordon McMillan, who joined the social media company in 2013, is the head of the editorial for the Middle East and North Africa. And this was uncovered by an independent news outlet, the Middle East Eye. While both Twitter and the British Army attempt to distance themselves, and yeah, as I mentioned, it's like Newsweek is pointing it out. So it's not fake news. It's like legit. It happened. I'm reading official sources. The British Ministry of Defense describes PSYOPs as a way of getting the enemy or the other target audience to think and act in a way which will be to our advantage. So basically, subversion. That's what they're talking about. The KGB was doing it throughout the Cold War. The CIA did it as well. Like it's a tactic that's used by many governments. And apparently that the mainstream media is not covering this. The New York Times isn't covering this. The Washington Post isn't covering this. CNN isn't covering it. MSNBC, Fox News, CNBC. And you need to have a Romanian with my little table here, my little desk, by myself. Funded by you guys, because it's kind of difficult to get monetization going nowadays. And I'm informing you about it. So, apparently it was downplayed in the UK press, with only the Independent, the London Times, and the Financial Times producing reports of the news, bland and even toned as they were. There was no other reporting of it in the national press, including the BBC or the Guardian, the latter having already gotten rid of everyone who seems to cover the security services and military, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I think about it, right? I generally think people don't care. I know it's shocking when you say it, and I know you expect that people would be really outraged, and it's like, oh, how dare they? But that is literally it. That is the limit of what the outrage is. It's people going, shaking their cheeks a little bit, and that is it. And I'm saying this because I remember when the CIA was, I believe, hacked by WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks got information from the CIA, which stated that smartphones and Alexa, as well as your smart TV, they can record what goes on in your house. And it was like even some creepy shit, like smart cars could actually be used by the CIA to assassinate people and stuff. Now, there was no investigation into this, right? Like, it's labeled a conspiracy theory. People conspire. And that's it. It's like, okay, is this happening or not? Well, people conspire. And that's it, right? Like, that is the extent of the conversation, right? Like, there's no more investigations. There's no, like, well, is it true or not? Like, you bring an accusation, right? You raise up, is this happening or not? People conspire. Well, if people conspire now, who are we to ask further questions? Oh, like, it's fine. Don't ask questions. Whatever. But my point is, like, many people aren't upset about it. They're not outraged about it. They, like, maybe 20 years ago, people would legitimately go out and protest, or, you'd have, like, politician coming out and taking a firm stance against this, or try to start an investigation or something like that. Nowadays, you don't. It's like, I think most people are like, well, if I do nothing wrong, then I have nothing to hide. Which means, like, okay, if that's the case, why is Snowden and why is Assange being harassed by the governments? It's like, if the governments have not done nothing wrong, why do they have something to hide? I mean, we're using the same mentality, right? Are the governments not people as well? Of course, right? So if they don't do anything wrong. But anyway, what do I want to talk about this? Do I find this unbelievable, right? Because it's just, apparently, is the accusation. Maybe the guy just happened to have two jobs. He works at the British Army, 77th Brigade, doesn't make a lot of money, and also wants to work as a Twitter executive. Am I surprised? Not at all. Like, if you look how Twitter works and how social media works nowadays, they can shape public opinion. Let me explain. The trending page, right? Like, there are things that are legitimately trending on the Twitter, and the Twitter can just make them disappear like that. No more trending. Even if it gets like 100,000 of retweets and everyone is talking about a subject, the Twitter can just make it go away. Meanwhile, you can have something that's not trending, and it's just 10 people talking about it, and it's on the trending page. And the Twitter isn't the only one. All social media do this. Every single social media does this. There was a hearing in the United States where you had a doctor who pointed out that Facebook knows a lot about you, like a lot more than you think. And there was like this father who kept getting advertisements for diapers. It's like, what? Why is he getting advertisement for diapers? Well, it turns out that he found out in 1 month that his daughter was pregnant. So it's like Facebook knew about the pregnancy before he did. It's really easy to know how the internet knows these things, because, you go on different pages, you click likes. You basically, whenever you click a like on Facebook or you follow someone on the Twitter, you're basically telling the algorithm what you like. Indirectly, without knowing, you're basically informing the algorithm what type of person you are. To the point where the algorithm can actually find out who you're going to vote. What did Cambridge Analytica do, right? That massive scandal with Donald. What was it about? Well, this company, using what people like, found out who are right-wingers, and then did a survey to find out what are the key issues that right-wingers care about, to inform Donald Trump so he knows in his campaign what to campaign on. That's literally the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Like, they looked at, people, see what they liked, and apparently that is the private information that was stolen. But Facebook has access to that private information. They already know it, right? So, for example, the doctor that at the hearing in the United States pointed out that it costs Zuckerberg no money whatsoever. He does it for free to issue, for example, only to Democrats a reminder that they should go out to vote on voting day. So literally, like, they can make an algorithm that only the Democrats, and it can be used against, for the Republicans. It doesn't matter, like, it's a system. But it can be used so that only certain people of a political leaning that the algorithm figures out would get a reminder on that specific day, hey, don't forget to vote. Because Facebook no money. So they got a lot of power, like Google manipulating search engines. Tulsi Gabbard, for example, according to Steven Crowder, was banned in the search engine only in the United States on the day that she was trending. So yeah, social media has a lot of power. And I'm not shocked at all that the government wants a piece of that power. And for a company that's big enough, like Facebook or, a multi-million-dollar corporation, it's a lot easier for them to work with the government rather than against it. And, when you say the government, it's like, well, right now the left is in power. But again, like, the system is there. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if the right wing comes in power. And let's say you got a fascist government that the left always fears about. Do you think Facebook will care? I mean, you have American corporations willing to work with China. Like, if you import certain things that the Chinese do to their own people here, you will hear the left going, oh, fascist. Right? So why do you think, like, these corporations aren't moral or anything? They don't care. They're willing to play ball with whomever is in charge. So the fact that people are really upset about this just boggles my mind. But again, it's like, maybe people don't know. But I think, like, it doesn't matter if people would know. If, like, literally every single newspaper would talk about it, no one would care. Like, people wouldn't go out to protest. People are too lazy to go out and protest. It's another thing that I think the left uses a tactic that the Russians came up with it, which is called rent a mob. Now, rent a mob is a very interesting tactic, right? Like, if I want to protest against, I don't know, Cambridge Analytica's invasion in my privacy, right? So I want to go and protest to Facebook because they didn't protect accurately enough my private information. If I go there with a sign and I go, blah, 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 no one cares. People will think I'm crazy, right? So what the tactic does is you get 100 people to go and protest. You pay them, basically. Doesn't matter if they care or not. So now you have 100 people that are paid, and they're protesting with their little plaques going, blah, 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 blah. When you do that, people that are walking by, they're noticing, oh, there's people protesting. And some of them might join the protest. And eventually you're going to get more and more people joining in, right? Initially you had a group of paid people, but now you have like a massive group. Most of them aren't paid. And when someone accuses you of saying, oh, you paid the protesters, you can say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. You're crazy. You're nuts. Get the fuck up. And then you have like the mainstream media, which is like, taking a small picture and getting everyone together to make it look like it's a large crowd. And then other mainstream media pick up on that story. And that's how you literally create fake outrage. How you can create a push, And the right isn't doing that. The right isn't doing that. They're really poor at protest. I guess it's because the right has like more values. And if we do that, we're like them. Blah, blah. No, you need to use their tactics. They're winning idiots. So yeah, no, like I would definitely, be a little bit worried if I was in the UK about this. And I don't think it's just in the UK. This is like the one that's got caught. Like I do not understand why any government wouldn't want to get a piece of the pie of social media. We look at China and their social media point-based system and we think it's not going to happen here. Why not? I mean, in the United Kingdom, they already thought police people. Remember when there was like a negative connotation to the word thought policing? It's like you're trying to police by thought. Well, the UK are doing it. They have an AI that the police will use in order to predict hate crimes through the Twitter for the first time. I generally like, you know what I find really shocking about this? Is that if a government would 10 years ago or 20 years ago would have came up with a system to monitor every single aspect of people's lives, people would say no. They would freak out, like they would rebel. I think they would actually protest in that case. But if you have a system that people use willingly and they share literally everything about their life, like if you look at Facebook, people share their family members, pictures of themselves, their place of employment, what they like, all of these things are like shared willingly by people. And when the government goes like, well, maybe we can police that, people are like, nah. So, like my advice to you, if you're in Britain, delete your Twitter account, all right? Go anonymous, stop doing that, because here's one thing, right? Like, if at least they would use it to police people properly, I'd be like, at least it applies to everyone. But it's not going to apply to everyone. It's just going to be that the moment a person tries to ascend to a position of power, like the chief of a hospital or try to become CEO or something like that, they will go through his Twitter, they will go like 10, 15 years in the past, find something that's problematic, and not to mention, like, they can literally use this AI to find stuff that you have posted 10 or 15 years ago. And the thing is, like, as I mentioned, it's not applied universally. If you happen to be someone like Justin Trudeau, which the left loves, and you happen to have blackface 10 years ago, nothing happens. By the way, go this Halloween dressed up Justin Trudeau with the black. That's what I would do. Nothing happens. But if you happen to be some random twat and people found out that you've had blackface 10 years ago, do you think that you would get off the hook like Justin Trudeau? What about, like that New York Times lady that was saying like the most vile thing towards white people? If you were to do the same thing and say the most violent things to any other race, like exactly what she said, word for word, in fact, there were people that took what she said word for word, just replaced white with Jews or white with black, they immediately got vetted out of the social media. So, you know, like that's my point. Like, if you're using Twitter, go anonymous. All right? Just stop it. Stop having your Twitter account. In fact, you know, just get off it altogether. The only reason I'm still on Twitter is because I need it for my job to find news. If I wouldn't, I wouldn't use it. It's cancer. Hopefully, if more people stop using it, then maybe they are going to migrate to something else, like Telegram. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.